Hey guys, it's Jesus, your Lord and Savior. But sometimes, I don't feel like I am. Like, I know I am the Son of God, and that I am God. And I'm also a man at the same time. But it doesn't feel like I am. Um, like, and I know this has to do with it's the PTSD and the depression that comes with the PTSD from the crucifixion really was a rather traumatic thing for me. Um, Everything from the betrayal, the humiliation, the physical torture, um, descending into hell. Um, I spent 3 days in literal hell. That was kind of those were some rough days for me. Um, yeah, I can't explain how bad hell actually is. There was gnashing of teeth and darkness, and it's a it's a really bad place, and I wish no one had to go there. And I can think at the same time, I'm glad that it happened because I saved you in doing that. You can ask me into your heart and accept the blood that I did shed for you, and if you do that, you won't have to go to hell. So my sacrifice will have been for something, but you know, I get depressed knowing that, I made that sacrifice. I made that sacrifice for you, but you're still rejecting me. You haven't accepted me into your heart. And that's kind of a that's one of the things that, and it's like I feel like a failure about it. Because after it happened and I came back from the dead. I was I was different, but for right away, it didn't really seem like I was a different son of God. I was going around, I was still ministering, I was showing all the doubters that, you know, I did what I said I did. And, I just went around and I ascended back up into heaven, and, you know, people started making disciples for me of all the nations. And that felt good when that was going on. But a little bit after that, the PTSD it started to have an effect, and for a while, a number of years, like I started kind of changing, and it wasn't something that was like it wasn't obvious. It's just there was a bunch of oddities about me, and people started saying you're acting a little different, but I was well, not different, but they started pointing out things about me. I was you know I'd been pretty chill for a bit, and I started getting aggressive and smiting, and so of course my followers started doing some stuff too. We burnt down a bit of things, got in some fights. There were some fights. It still is sometimes, but they're not as bad as they used to be. Used to be, entire nations put to the sword and that kind of thing. Um, and it's like there's a lot of regret about it too. Um, and a lot of people think like you're God. You can just magically change it, and people don't realize that I am human. At the same time, I get hungry, I get thirsty, my wounds bleed, I get tired. Going into the desert and fasting for 40 days and 40 nights wasn't it wasn't just like some unnecessary thing because God is God. God doesn't need recharge, meditation, clear your head time. I am also human, so going out there and going for 40 days and 40 nights without food, that did put me in a very famished state, and like when you're in that state, you're also more susceptible to things. So to be closer to God, that's why fasting is such a good thing. But that was also at the time that the devil came to tempt me, and he showed me all these nations and offered to turn them over to me if I would only bow down and worship him. And people think, well, like, you're God, you own everything anyway. You created what he's offering you. So it shouldn't have been just just get behind me, Satan. But like it actually was a very, it was a temptation, which I did, and that was before everything happened. Um, but like it was a strong temptation because I am human, and people think, well, PTSD, it's all in your head. And I mean, like, on the one hand, forgive them, for they know not what the fuck they're talking about. And I do, because I'm Jesus and I forgive. But like, humans have, we have these defense mechanisms that are buried in our brain. And when traumatic stress occurs, it's our coping mechanisms get broke down. And the brain tries to rewire them because the way it was wired was ineffective. And so you get things like heightened awareness of danger, or a perception of danger, because sometimes the wiring didn't work right. So you can sense danger and get hyper anxious or become aggressive all of a sudden because your brain all of a sudden is in this defensive thing. And so that's kind of some of the things that happen with some of the fights. It's just something snaps, and then you're in this state. So it's like, people think, well, if I have PTSD from getting crucified, then of course I'm gonna, like, well, enough with the fucking crosses, okay? I didn't need to come back and just see crosses everywhere. That is kind of a little triggering for me. It should be an ichthus. I don't know if y'all remember what my followers are doing. It's a fish that you're supposed to put on the back of your car, not all these fucking, no, it's the thing they killed me with, yeah. So that is kind of like one of the things that happen, but that's not the only thing. I kind of got sidetracked there. It's not just when I get triggered that it turns into a PTSD moment. I'm not just afraid of crosses, or cats of nine tails, or Roman centurions, or the Sanhedrin, or whatever. It's just because the brain is miswired in its attempt to protect itself, that something else will cause a heightened alert of, like, is that the devil over there? Just stuff like that. It's a kind of all around over defensiveness, and that's kind of one of the things. It led me to, well, it's one of the things that led me to some pretty heavy drinking, from barely after the crucifixion, when I got back up to heaven. It's kind of when it started, and it progressed through the Middle Ages, and the fall of Byzantium, and then on through the Renaissance, and it got worse and worse because I wasn't aware of what was going on with me, and so I was addressing some what were obvious symptoms, but they weren't read as symptoms. They just, he's drinking too much. He's a little paranoid, and like the depression symptom. That's another one. Depression. People think it's just like being sad or whatever. No, there's so many different ways to describe it. Just not being able to do the things that you're able to do, and you don't know why. And it's like you overthink every mistake. Like with the combination of anxiety and depression, really sucks. Because when you overthink the shit you done wrong, and then you feel like shit because you've done things wrong. And like people that say, like, I am perfect and I don't make mistakes, but that's kind of I wouldn't say false doctrine, but like, okay, so you remember when, like, I created Adam and Eve because I needed people to worship me. I do have a need for, there are things that I, even as God, when I'm being big God, not just Son of God, part of God, like, I need people to worship me. I kind of put a lot of my value in what other people worship me, how and where, and so, and what they give to me. Like, that's why I needed. Why? Okay, so after I created Adam and Eve to worship me, and then they sinned because I told them not to eat this fruit that would give them knowledge. I didn't want them to have knowledge for some reason, because I actually felt that they might leave me if they were to have knowledge. So we had this. It was a certain. It was a dominant submissive relationship. I needed them to worship me, and I needed to maintain them without knowledge so that they would. But Satan, the slyest of all the creatures, he got them the knowledge, and I had to let them go out into the world, and so I decided I was going to make them toil and suffer as a result, and then they went forth and multiplied, and then a lot of them didn't worship me, and so it's like I made them to worship me, and they're not. So the one thing that I was trying to get out of all of creation, I wasn't getting. And so, like, there was Sodom and Gomorrah. I went in, I had to go to Lot because he was trying to find righteous men there, but there were not many among them. I even sent them there with a bunch of angels, a couple of angels. They visited his house, and there, that mob wanted to gangbang him, and Lot, being a righteous man, he protected my two angels by offering his daughter up to be gangbanged by a crowd. And so he was a righteous man. This was mostly my dad. Like, I thought that was kind of a little weird that the good guy was offering up his kid to be gangbanged by a crowd. But, it was kind of a different time. And so I had to destroy the whole city. That was, it was kind of fun. Just like, we had to turn Lot's wife into a pillar of fire because she looked back, and we told her not to look back. And when people disobey you like that, you got to kill them by turning him into salt. That was one of the ways we did stuff. Man, I kind of miss that sometimes. Making people fall on their swords, or opening up the earth, turning them into salt, fire coming out of the heaven. I used to kill a lot of people in some interesting ways, but things are different, and they're better. Things are better now. I don't miss the killing all the time. Okay, sometimes I miss. There's something I miss about it, but I'm glad I'm not there killing and smiting whole nations. But I don't know. It does have a certain part of me there. But things are different now, and they're better now that I'm not smiting. So recently, as I quit drinking, no, that's not where I was going. So after I had to smite Sodom and Gomorrah and kill Lot's wife, so some sons of the true God were looking down at the daughters of men, and they went down to earth, and they started boning humans and created the Nephilim and Semyaza, the angel, went down to Earth, and him and a bunch of his guys started teaching humans how to do stuff. They taught them metallurgy and writing and astronomy, and they started teaching them all the shit that they weren't supposed to have. Like, I wanted them to just kind of be dumb, do housework for me, that kind of thing. And they got, first it was the knowledge in the garden, and then it was that. And then they started building a tower, and if the humans could build a tower like that, and they were all working together, then they could just become like me, and then who would there be to worship me? It was out of fear and need for that adoration that I was getting from humanity, that I had to destroy them. I had to smite them. They were going to become like me, and they would become capable of anything if they were to complete that tower and all work in unison with another. So I had to scatter them, and then they became wicked, and so I had to just flood the world. I kept one family, and the inbred descendants of them are what you are now, and also what I am, because I am human in addition to being God. And now, again, it's like my efforts are being and have been wasted because people have turned their back on me. They're so obsessed with watching their televisions, and they don't have a sense of morality. Man, they don't give me money. I got like 4 people that tithe to me, 4 out of 8.5 billion. Like, nobody cares about their Lord and Savior anymore, and I think that it's like, why would they? What am I doing? What have I been doing? And I look at it and think I haven't been doing anything. I've been sitting in the basement drinking when I should be out there saving the world by offering salvation and transforming lives and blessing and granting prosperity to those who follow me. But I haven't been. I haven't been doing that shit. Like, I have seriously neglected my job as the Lion of Judah, the Prince of Peace, and the wonderful counselor. That's one thing it is my main job to be a wonderful counselor, and I haven't been available as that. And as I was drinking that much to treat the symptoms of the depression, but the alcohol itself is a depressant, and it has that effect on my godly but human body. The alcohol would make me more depressed, and so I would drink more, and it was just this vicious cycle, and I got nothing done. I haven't healed somebody. I don't know how long. Yeah, I haven't made the lame to walk in a while. And it's just it's a funk that I am trying to snap myself out of. I know there's the drinking that was a symptom of treating the depression, which is a symptom of post-traumatic stress, and then I have to get to the base of the post-traumatic stress to get this. But it's like I'm walking backwards on it, trying to get myself back to being, who I was in AD 33. But it's, it is hard to do that, and if you're not familiar with mental conditions like that, it may be difficult for you to understand. But it's a mess. But it's a mess that I'm getting myself out of. I have quit drinking. I've been sober for just about 90 days now. Yeah, it's going to be 90 days in about 2 weeks. My birthday's coming up, by the way. It's weird. My birthday's always a tricky time of year. It is a happy time of year. It's in the winter, which is kind of depressing, so it is like a happy time in the winter. They had to put it on Saturnalia. I don't know why. It's not my real birthday, but, you know, I'll take what I can get. Worship me whenever, but, anywho, so I'm quitting the drinking, and I'm trying to work on the depression, and just, you know, shit like making my bed every day, and, like, providing guidance for somebody, you know, answering all the prayers. I've been doing that. Keep praying to me. I've been answering my prayers, your prayers to me. Trying to provide guidance to leaders, like I used to. I guided a lot of history. A lot of people have prayed to me, founded great nations that were, you know, based on my guidance. But there's not that many Christian leaders anymore. Oh, just a bunch of con artists. Yeah, that really sucks. Like people using your name to get stuff done, but they're not anywhere remotely near actually being servants of Christ. And just seeing people follow them, it's just like, come on, what is wrong with you? I wrote you a book that explained this shit, and then people are like, oh, la la la, let's just wave some crosses around and call ourselves Christians, but you know them by their deeds. And I will say, depart from me, I never knew you, when they, you know, when they come see me in person, if I don't find them first. And it's just like all this shit that just went, like, it didn't go how it was supposed to. And like if I could do it again, what would I do different? And like, I don't know, like I knew the crucifixion was going to happen before it happened. You know, it was written, but at the same time, it was like being a man about it, being a human, and kind of acting as if it wasn't going to. Like I didn't. It's like I didn't see it coming, but I did see it coming, and I didn't do anything about it, but like I couldn't have done anything about it. And accepting, and this is something I know I have to do, I have to accept that everything that happened did happen, and it happened for a reason. And it's like I've always just focused on the reason that it happened. You know, you did this because your dad liked blood sacrifice, and then he didn't want people to have to sacrifice animals anymore, so he gave the perfectest sacrifice, which is you. And because of that, there's salvation. Everybody can just pray salvation. And just anyone can have me come into their heart, and now I'm as God, because I came down and got myself whacked. I defeated death, and now I'm everywhere, so people can pray to me anywhere instead of just in the tabernacle or in a temple. I'm actually everywhere now, and people can pray directly. They don't need priests and Sanhedrins and whatnot. And I will have a glorious returning too. There's a chapter in the book. There's a book in the book about it. It's like I think of the different books as chapters that I wrote. The last one that I wrote was Book of Revelations. A guy named John the Revelator. He wrote that on my behalf. And then there's going to be a glorious returning, and I'm going to take all of those of you whose name is written in the book of life. I'm going to take them up with me, and then throw those other fools to the bottomless pit, along with the dragon, the whore of Babylon. and the false prophet and, you know, all them. So I still got another big fight that I need to get into. But like, I realized all these good things did come from the crucifixion, but that doesn't undo the fact that I did get crucified. I was nailed to a cross and died and went to hell. And no matter, even though it was the greatest gift that anyone could give to anyone, it was the greatest thing ever. That precious blood that was shed to grant you salvation. I still got crucified. Okay? I got fucking crucified. And it traumatized me. And so, no matter how you look at it, that still happened. And I have to, beyond just accept that, I can undo the emotional and mental damage. The neurological damage is damage it's on a physical level. And so my brain, as a human son of God, it's miswired. And so I have to deal with this on the physical level too, which there's a number of things that I'm, things like exercise and trying the right vitamins. There's, probiotics that's in kombucha. There's a certain strain of it that they've noted is a depression, and, fish oil and shit. And these things actually do help in the rewiring process, so I can get, physically, neurologically, psychosomatically, whatever you call it, okay with it, and not just remember that I saved all of humanity by this, and that's not actually going to fix it. It doesn't matter how much I accomplish by doing it. The damage is still there. If you save somebody's life by, pulling them out of the road and a truck hits your arm and breaks it, doesn't matter that you saved life. Your arm's still broken, and that's what happened to me. Even though I saved the entire world, or at least all those that repented and worship me and give me money. You can give me money on Patreon/YourOwnPersonalJesus. The link is probably in the description. Even though I saved the entire world that will repent and worship me, I'm still broken. And I need to fix that. And I can't just stop being the Messiah for a while I'm fixing it. I have to keep going on with my life while I'm fixing it. And it's hard, but it's also easier that way, because it's like I'm not making this dramatic shift into what I'm going to be. I'm going to continue doing it, and then I'm going to get better at it. I don't seek perfection, just continuous spiritual improvement. That's one of the things that AA taught me. Also, I'm quitting smoking because vaping hurts my physical human body less. So I'm doing that because I do have addiction. Addictions are it's like a neurological thing, and addiction stems from your same instincts. Like when you're thirsty, you have a compulsion to drink water. When you're hungry, you drink food. When you're cold, you cover up. The way it works in the brain is it becomes kind of you act on it the same way you act on other instincts, and that's why addiction is very much a medical problem and not a matter of willpower. Those that do have very strong willpower and fall into addiction just as easily use that willpower to acquire the drug that they're looking for. And so having strong will does not necessarily make addiction something easier to beat. It can be quite the opposite, and so many of the mental disorders are kind of misunderstood and kind of stigmatized, and so a lot of these things can't actually get dealt with. lot of good people have been ruined by him. Things have been getting a little bit better, I think, but I don't know. Y'all need a lot more divine guidance on that, because society is failing in that regards. But I'm not going to be a failure. I'm going to beat this, and I'm going to continue beating it. Every day is another chance to beat it. And every day, I've actually got this little notebook somewhere where I'm, transcribing, every day that I get done the shit that I'm gonna do. I have this little list where get up. I'm just making the bed at a particular time, getting up, making sure I have food in my stomach before I drink coffee, making sure I don't drink. That I do certain things that are necessary for my ministry to transform lives, and just reminding myself that I am getting this shit done, and I made like a not to do list, and you think of all the shit that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing, and I write that down, and then just as you go throughout the day, make sure you're not doing this shit. And it's actually been, I think it's been one of the most helpful things, even though I don't consciously think that, but like when you look at it there, it's like I am not doing this, and it reminds me that I'm not. It's like I need a reminder sometimes, and like it helps me realize that I am doing okay in a lot of things. In a lot of things, like I feel like I'm not the Messiah, but like, you remind yourself that you are the Messiah. You're the Son of God, because He so loved the world. He gave you that those who believe in me shall not perish, but shall have eternal life. And so just reading my old writings like that, it reminds me of what I was and what I still am. Because like trauma, one of the things that it does is it kind of it's like it kills the identity, and like a lot of you probably heard, he wasn't the same after that, or somebody gets deployed, comes back, and he hasn't been the same since then, or bad shit happens to people, and people like they're different now. They are different, like, and they are neurologically, emotionally, and psychologically a different person, because that what makes the identity has been fundamentally altered. And even when they heal from that, they're still not going to be the same person they was before. They'll be just, a different, but kind of more productive or more stable or whatever, a better, I don't want to say better person. Then one person isn't better than the other just because they're not neurologically damaged, but let's say better functioning person. So, like I can say, I'm not going to be the same Jesus I was before the crucifixion, but I'm not going to be the same Jesus that I had been being either. I'm going to be a better Jesus, a better Savior. I am going to transform a lot more lives. I'm going to grant a lot of prosperity. I'm going to watch the lilies of the field, the sparrows. And I'm gonna come back, and when I do, there's gonna be like trumpets and angels pouring out bowls and stuff. It is gonna be awesome. There'll be a glorious appearance. My hair will be like wool. My skin will be like bronze, because I'm gonna be out in the working out a lot more in the sun. It's going to be a glorious appearance, and I got to remind me. I gotta get ready to come back, because like Michael is gonna have to fight Lucifer, and there's a lot of shit that I got to get ready, both like in here and on the world, and in heaven. I got to get these many rooms ready. In my Father's house, there are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. It's going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay. If you've accepted me into your heart, you will be okay. Okay. So, it's almost 5 in the morning in the nation in which I am. I am living in the United States right now. It's, it was my favorite country. Don't want to get into that. But it's where I'm at now. And it's about 5 a.m. where I'm at now. So my human body does need to rest. It's just, sometimes I just can't sleep on these things. And I do feel that talking them out like this has helped quite a bit. And so I'd like to say thank you for all of those of you who have heard my reverse prayer. Heard my voice. And I do feel a little bit better now, so I'm going to rest, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to continue my ministry tomorrow. And kick ass at it. Going to go to bed sooner, and hopefully get some more sleep. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to kick ass again the next day. God bless you. Make sure to give me money.